This is Bess of Whitecauldron with 1212 Zen. I'm really excited this morning. I have been religiously listening to Buddhist Bootcamp by Timber Hawkeye, and today I jumped on his website and was just floored because I have been led to his teachings, which started several months ago. Today's monthly blog for September is about mindfulness, meditation, and talking about recovery, which is exactly right up my alley. I just want to read this to you because it's amazing. Of course, you can go to BuddhistBootcamp.com and check it out for yourself. But let me start the reading. Like many of us, I wasn't born into a life of mindfulness or meditation. I spent my teenage years and most of my 20s mindlessly eating, drinking, smoking, numbing, escaping, lying, cheating, and running my mouth with no regard for possible consequences or how my actions might affect others. Needless to say, it hasn't been a seamless transition from that lifestyle to mindful living. The spiritual journey is not only difficult in the beginning, nor is it all downhill after a certain point. Even after many years of practice, we still sometimes take a tiny step forward, 2 giant steps back, climb a steep cliff, fall halfway down a treacherous slope, and start again. I find this to be such an amazing piece of writing so far. Just the other day, I was sitting at a reservoir at dusk, and I filmed a video of myself. I was feeling extremely depressed. I was 1 day away from having 30 days of sobriety, and I felt so alone, and I actually said the words that I felt like I was just thrown off of a cliff. I have been absolutely led to Timber Hawkeye's teachings, and so I just had a huge change in my life. It all just fell out the bottom, and talk about hitting bottom, I absolutely did. I left feeling both incredibly hurt and painfully resentful and heartbroken and angry and full of grief to have so many huge losses in my life. But the good thing is, had I not fallen all the way down to the point I did, I would not have had the opportunity to find out and get help, find out what was truly wrong physically with me that was making me feel so rotten and irritated and having very little tolerance for the smallest stressors possible. And that was because my body was not absorbing TSH. If you're familiar with TSH, that is called thyroid stimulating hormone. I do not have a thyroid gland. I had it surgically removed. It was a thyroidectomy 2 weeks after my 16th birthday because I had cancer. I did not, over all of these years, over 35 of them, ever experience complete thyroid failure. And they say thyroid failure, even though I don't have a thyroid gland, it's still that my body was not absorbing thyroid stimulating hormone, which of course affects your entire endocrine system, your pituitary gland. You've got your adrenals on the top of the back of your kidneys. You have your thymus. Your pancreas is considered part of the endocrine system as well. The thyroid is very specific to the body in that it works like a switchboard between your brain and all of your organs. It affects your metabolism. It affects your mood, your thought processes, whether or not your GI system, so you can find yourself being extremely constipated and uncomfortable, or if it's too high, it could go the other way. But in my case, I was in failure, so everything was slowed down. My temperature was dropping, my blood pressure was dropping, but I was just absolutely... Oh, and my heart rate was dropping, but then it shot up. So it was just a combination of tons of stressors, huge life stressors, and loss. And I really felt like I was being thrown over a cliff so that I could reach all the way down to the very bottom of that cliff. And wow, being thrown off of it. Did I survive? Yes, I did. With the loss of, with the failure of thyroid, I was looking at a very serious problem. My doctors were floored. They said they'd never seen numbers like that before. And I looked it up, and I'm sure they didn't go over this with me because they didn't want to scare me, because I was already in a pure limbic system, panic, anxious, because of all the changes, and because my body was doing what it was doing, which was not allowing me to function properly because of thyroid failure. Anyway, the worst of the worst could have been, and I was not far from that. I just know, had I not gotten help, I was looking at coma, and in worst case scenario, death. So it's a darn good thing I fell all the way down. It's a darn good thing that I got back into recovery. I also, at that point, once the veil of that alcohol started to clear, I realized that I had not functioned properly. It affected every part of me so deeply that I just couldn't care anymore about anything. I just was going through the motions. I'd go to work and I would just go through the motions. I would be involved in activities with my loved ones, and I'd pull out of that a little bit pretty well many, many times, and really tried hard to be present and participate. But I always got pulled back in and into the grief and the denial and the anger and the irritability. So it was a combination of absolutely devastating grief and absolutely devastating effects that were happening to my body because of long COVID and a failed thyroid. I had COVID in February earlier this year. Wow. I knew that my pain, chronic pain issues were heightened. I knew I was still extremely tired, but stuff started happening and I didn't know it was thyroid failure. My hair started to fall out, and I didn't realize it was because of thyroid failure. I was getting dry patches of skin in certain creases of my body. I didn't know that was thyroid failure. I was having severe cramps in my legs and sometimes in my arms and in my back, but mostly in my legs. And I did not know that that was thyroid failure. I was having all of these symptoms, but didn't know what it was. And the reason, it all just kind of creeped up on me. I just figured it had to do with my existing fibromyalgia, with my existing osteoarthritis, with my existing bone loss that I've been dealing with for the last several years. I just thought it was because of underlying conditions, but had no clue. So thankfully, I got into recovery. I lost everything, and now I've got a fresh start. This fresh start is allowing me to see in a way that I couldn't see before. And back to Buddhist Bootcamp with Timber Hawkeye. I'm really excited. I'm waiting to find out when it is that I can have this Zoom call with him. I'm hoping in the future that perhaps I could interview him for this show, 1212 Zen. Let me read the rest of this blog, and then I'm going to be signing off. I used to think the word relapse only applied for a setback in someone's recovery from addiction or the deterioration of someone's health after a period of improvement, but we can also experience a relapse in our mindfulness practice. After making significant progress in certain aspects of our lives, it can be extremely discouraging and infuriating when we revert back to old behavior patterns that we thought we had already outgrown. Even with a well-established and diligently cultivated meditation practice, everyone stumbles from time to time. It doesn't matter how dedicated I may be to mindful eating, for example. I still sometimes lose the battle against deep-fried, sugar-coated, or salty deliciousness. In other words, we all relapse sometimes, but a relapse is a bruise, not a tattoo. In sports terms, losing a point is not the same as losing the game, and we are still in the game. If you'd like to read the rest of that blog, please go to buddhistbootcamp.com/blog. You'll land on Buddhist Bootcamp, Faithfully Religionless with Timber Hawkeye, and I hope that perhaps he might see this video. I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much. And I'll talk to you more about it when we actually meet on Zoom. Very excited. Very, very excited and looking forward to it. By the way, if any of you are interested in checking out Mr. Hawkeye and you want a personal session, it's very inexpensive. It was only $25, which is absolutely amazing. It's not like he charged some exorbitant rate of $200 or $300, $500 like some of these teachers out there tend to do. Thanks so much. Again, Bess of White Cauldron, 1212 ZEN. This is a production of AirKill Media, which is a collaboration between Bess, which is my band, and Toothpinch, who is an individual industrial artist. And together we also have a band called White Cauldron. Check it out. Check all of it out. Peace out, and you have a fantastic day.